Pledge of Allegiance, but we'll have a moment of silence beforehand. Roll call.
There are 15 present, with members Bryant, Elsasser, and Kelch absent.
Next is the approval of the June 13th, 2024 minutes. Is there a motion? Member Daly, Member Duncan. Any corrections, comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair. Aye. Coates.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
Duncan.
Aye.
Groves Allison. Hare. Phelan. Renault. Ricker. Rosenbaum. Rulin. Salzer. Williams. Windisch. And Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes.
Next is a proclamation from Maya Stram recognizing her record-setting season in pole vaulting. Can you please come forward? You can bring the whole family up if you want. Did I? No.
I'll preface this by saying I spent a career of nearly 40 years coaching track and field, but I was chairman of the state high school track and field meet at Charleston for about 14 years, both boys and girls. So I know what some of these efforts are. And the honor tonight that we are going to present to Maya Stram. She holds the state record for all three classes, whereas she really competes normally, I think, in 1A, correct? Yeah. But there's 2A and there's 3A, and her record that she established this year, and that's quite an effort. Now, pole vaulting for girls started just about the time that I was retiring, and I know how difficult that particular event is. In fact, most coaches don't want to coach it because it's so hard to coach. It really is. And most coaches learn about pole vault by way of having a good pole vaulter. The good pole vaulter teaches them the real fundamentals of the particular event. So I'll begin by saying, whereas the Peoria County Board congratulates Maya Stram for her victory in the Class 1A sectional at the Illinois High School Association Pole Vault State Championship, and whereas Maya Stram has secured the championship for her second consecutive season by setting the Illinois state record in all classes with a clearance of 4.3 meters. Now, for us who don't know much about meters, that would have been 14 feet, 1 1/4 inches. And whereas with a vaulting height that placed her at third in the nation this season. Maya Stram qualified for the United States Olympic trials. And whereas Peoria County acknowledges her hard work and perseverance, plus the dedication and guidance from the Brimfield Elmwood coaching staff, and the Flying Dragons Pole Vault Club in Bloomington. And whereas Peoria County wishes her the best of luck in her upcoming senior season, her subsequent move to the University of Tennessee, and her future endeavors. Now, therefore, I, James C. Dillon, Chairperson of the Peoria County Board, on behalf of the County Board, do hereby recognize and applaud Maya Stram for a record-setting 2024 season and the bar she sets for athletes everywhere. Dated this 11th day of July, AD 2024, James C. Dillon, Peoria County Chairperson, Rachel Parker, Peoria County Clerk. Introduce the rest of the family.
Okay, this is my family. This is my mom, Courtney Strom, my dad, Jason Strom, and then this is my brother, Kingston Strom, and then this is my foster brother, Josiah Armstrong, and my older brother and my younger sister are at home sick right now, so. But I just want to thank everyone who has supported me this season and my whole high school career, and thank you for the Peoria County for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Next up is one of the privileges of the chair and recognizing one of our board members that been here 5 years. It doesn't seem like it's been 5 years, but she's done a lot to help the business community move forward. I will actually bring this to her since she just had some knee surgery, not wanting to walk here, but congratulations, Ms. Blair.
Don't I? I didn't know 5 years ago that I wanted to do this until I was asked, and I've had such a great experience here on the county board. I'm so happy to work for my constituents, and I hope for many more years. Thanks.
We're going to switch and do citizens' remarks before we get to policy discussion. Okay. I only had one that I saw that was out there, unless anybody else had a citizens' remarks comment. Seeing none, we have Joyce Blumenshine from Heart of Illinois Sierra Club.
Good evening. Thank you. Joyce Blumenshine. I'll be brief tonight, and I'd hope to hear your discussion about the hazardous, landfill. I'll calm down here. It is a big issue for our group, too. We've been involved in landfill issues for decades. So I just urge you, I know you would be very mindful and careful about this, but things that we are very concerned about. A, the financial status of the company. New company, big acquisitions, burdens that are not clear. There was an article in Community Word. I'm sure probably everybody's seen that. We've linked to it on our website. We've raised concerns also about, things are expensive now. How much will it cost in 15 years? Many other issues about how funding for the county and services for the public will go if there's other problems ahead. So thank you for your time and your careful discussion. I'm looking forward to it.
Next is the policy discussion for the City County Landfill number 3. Member Williams, who does serve as our county liaison on there, and Member Fox is on there. There's been some recent developments with the landfill since we've last had a discussion. Thought it was important. This is a very similar presentation that was given. Asked Josh with Foth to come and give the presentation. For those of you who do remember, this is basically a three-party type agreement, us, the city, and the landfill committee. So for anything to move forward, all three have to agree on it. And this is some major policy that is coming up, and I'm looking for the policy direction of this board. After Josh's presentation, there's not a whole lot to debate back and forth. I'm just looking to get the policy direction of the board of one of the proposals is to negotiate, or if it's this board's decision that we have a contract and to start building it now. So that is the direction I want to give staff to move. There's a lot of time lines that need to be hit, and just looking for some general, we've had some really good policy discussions lately, so I want to continue that policy discussion and give some staff some direction moving forward. Josh, if you want to come up.
Thank you, Chairman Dillon. Thank you, board members. So, Chairman Dillon said this was presented with a couple extra slides. I wanted to give a little background, just kind of the lay of the land of some aerials of where things are at to kind of set where we are in the county with everything here. So, we want to talk about the existing landfill, talk a little bit about the underground mining and the mining in the area, where that current status is, and then bring up the transfer station. So the way that they proposed, the latest proposal from GFL talks about transfer station items, some post-closure items, and then just some other odds and ends that came from the contract. So what we have here is the landfill site. This is just north of Cottonwood Road, and south of that is some other property that is managed by the landfill committee, but it's not really involved with this. As a background, Landfill 1 operated in 1975, closed in 1998. And it started actually before there were landfill rules. The committee jointly worked on that. That's what started the landfill committee, and ran all the way through 1998 when the new, we call Subtitle D landfills, lined landfills came into play. That was owned and that was operated by various entities throughout that time period. Going into Landfill 2, it's really got its permit in 1996. That was the property is owned by the landfill committee, the county, and the city and the county jointly own that. And so that is operated, the contract to operate is with Waste Management. The landfill design was completed by Daly and Associates, both bought out Daly in the early 2000s. So we've been working with that design since then. That was operated by Waste, and that is set to close sometime in probably Q1 of 2025 is the latest we've been hearing on that. Landfill 3, that process started for that in around 2008, 2009. Finally got the permit in 2016. We can probably have about 3 more policy sessions on remembering and going through all of those dates, and I don't remember all of them, but I'm going to hit up the highlights here of permitted in 2016. That is in the area shown the upper right triangle here. That is a little different than the other ones. The property is still jointly owned, but the design, permit, and construction and operation was what the RFQ was for. So it was a little more out on the contractor for that. So again, that received that in 2016. It's not on here, but near the scale house, another item that was permitted at that same time is a household hazardous waste facility, Citizens Convenience Center. That's right around that. That's where you can drop off recyclables, garbage, solid waste, other items, and as well as household hazardous waste chemicals there. In relation to the transfer station location that GFL is proposing is at the PDC 1 site, the former Haz Waste site. It, just as a reference, is about a little bit over 7 miles from that, right in Pottstown area there. I think it's Southport Road is the actual address of that. So, mining activity. So, we were lucky enough, we were out, the state, Illinois DNR had received, from the Abandoned Mine Lands group, had received a lot of federal funding to go after old reclaimed mine sites. They contacted us about some old shafts, portals, some old leftover equipment from the strip mining operations that occurred everywhere on site there. While we were there, another item that was from back is the entrance road dam. they had said, hey, we were trying to fix everything. We're looking for shovel-ready projects that are for us to use this money that we received, and we brought up the dam. They said they'd fund that. We're in the process of good progress with that. They're moving forward with what we have there. While we were there, they brought up a map, and on the map had this little blip on it, and it was an updated map after all of the siting process. So the siting process happened in 2010, and the maps were updated in 2012. We don't know why they were updated, why the change was. That really halted a lot of the stuff of what was going on. So that was the latest pause. On what we have presented here is really an overlay of where those estimated boundaries were. So what's really key in this is in the mining database, there's really two coal seams that were mined in this area. It's the Springfield coal seam, which was much deeper, that was underground mined, and then the upper was the Heron, which was strip mined out. That was listed as the Springfield, so it was underneath the actual excavations of the landfill. So there could have been a potential for voids, collapse, subsidence issues there. The DNR, in their funding, they wanted to use up. They helped us out with that. They did some investigative borings. There was 10 borings that they did that are really overlaid here, the little blue dots there. And they came up and they said, hey, we don't believe there's any void. They actually did a little more legwork on the paperwork side and the databases. And they worked with the Illinois Geological Survey, and they said, yeah, we believe that's in the Heron coal seam, which would have been removed from surface mining operations. So any voids were gone on that. Great news for us. Let's get the permit unpaused. GFL has submitted that permit to unpause that. It's been at the EPA's hand, I think about 20 days. The EPA has 90 days to give us an answer back on that. They have been asking for extensions. GFL has asked, we have asked. We have not heard anything back on the review status of that yet. So we're still waiting to hear back if they'll unpause that to continue development of the landfill. So that's really about where we're at right now. Again, I'm a garbage guy. I could talk for hours, probably in days on this stuff if you wanted to, but we're not even getting into recycling yet. So this is where we're at with the mining. So the GFL proposal and what we received, they wanted to build the transfer station at PDC 1 near Pottstown. They wanted to have 650 tons per day to include municipal solid waste and recycling materials. They wanted to try for a start of operations January of 26. The host fees, they would start the same, $1.50 per ton to the committee and 75 cents per ton to the city and the county. The county would still receive the state required tipping fee, the host fee for that. That funds the sustainability department on their efforts. And then that rate proposed would be $56 per ton. Currently, for a gate rate, we're currently in the mid-90s right now at landfill 2. We sent back, we wanted to chat, we wanted to discuss with them, yard waste was not addressed in this. The host fees were not proposed to be increased with CPI. And then in the contract, there was a $10 per ton rebate in the landfill in the contract for any county or city collected waste. These items, GFL had said, yes, we will increase with the CPI, the $10 ton per rebate. So in essence, our gate rate would not be $56, it would be $46 a ton for county. So it really dropped that down to that contractual rate. And then the yard waste, they did not want to address it in the transfer station, which we felt that was acceptable. They had considered it, but they have alternate options with Better Earth and others that they would go for. In regards to post-closure of landfill 1, so actually FOTH does quite a bit of work for the committee for this work. We help to operate the landfill flare, we do groundwater modeling, we do some data management of that. As part of landfill 3's contract, landfill 2 had taken care of some of those items. And this contract was set up to take care of the rest of the items, whereas the committee would really reduce its expenses quite significantly here. And these, cover stabilization, monitoring, leachate management, any of our EPA reports that we have to submit, and then any of the abandonment once everything's done. They said they will not will not assume for remedial actions. That's actually a defined term from the Environmental Protection Act. We clarified with that what that was. So our discussion points, hey, what do you mean by remedial actions? It means treating off-site, taking things off-site. So it seemed quite significant in those actions. So that was clarified. They also will take on full responsibility of the landfill gas management system, as in when 2012 and 13, they had rejected the rights, the landfill gas rights for landfill 1, so they wouldn't make landfill gas to energy. So in doing this, they would then take over all operations. So in essence, they would be operating wellheads, the flare, call outs, all of the things that FOTH does. They would be taking that on. And then we had some questions, hey, if the transfer station's in operation for 15 years, no one's going to be out there on a regular basis. Who's going to be taking care of the maintenance at the site? Illegal dumping? Are you going to monitor it? Are you going to clean it up? People come to the landfill, they want to dump that. They don't think that it's going to be there. What's your plan for that? They addressed that in stating that we will have regular monitoring there. We'll have the Citizens Convenience Center. We'll have drop-offs. We will be monitoring that on a regular basis. And then other items that were a part of the Landfill 3 contract that they wish to take on included there's 57 acres just to the south of just to the south of Landfill 1 that would be conveyed over to the city and the county. They would immediately start the 4 recycling drop-offs throughout the county per their contract. They'd start the perpetual care fund, and then every ton would receive a 25 cent per ton into the perpetual care fund. And then they would operate the Citizens Convenience Center at the transfer station. Real quick, a delineation between the Citizens Convenience Center and the Household Hazardous Chemical Management Facility. So the Citizens Convenience Center, it's kind of a semicircle area. It's got a lot of dumpsters where you would start on one side, you'd put like your white goods, your construction debris, your plastics. You would try to separate around, and that's like the drop-off where the free load program would also go as well. So that's that part. It's the citizens would be able to drop that off at the scale house. That way citizens are not driving back to the landfill face in an active area. They're able to do most of their things at the beginning where it's a lot safer. And then the HHW facility is a little different, but they're they were originally like on the same side in the same building, but there is a difference technically in those two things. And so the other things in their proposal was, in lieu of building the HHW facility right now, they would accept 150,000 pounds throughout the year in events throughout the county. They would still accept 3,000 tons, which is these numbers are in the contract. There's no adds or subtracts. And then continue to grant an easement for an extension of Forest Hill, and then cooperate with Industrial Park on Cottonwood. These were all straight out of the contract. There was no adds or ups. So with that, we asked a couple things. Can you define the business risk of deferring landfill 3? What are you gaining? What are you losing on that? What's your risk, your financial risk on that? In 15 years, some of us probably heard of PFAS and other regulated chemicals that are coming up along the board. What's going to change with landfill design? Will you still be required to? The landfill was designed in 2016 or before that. Is it a 20-year-old, 25-year-old design? Will it need to be updated? And the answer is yes to that, whatever the EPA requires, and that's what they're going to do. And then, what's going to happen when landfill 3 opens? What's going to go on when the Citizen Convenience Center and HHW facility, is that going to be built out at the landfill after 15 years? And then we had some what's the difference for county residents? They have that 7.3 miles. Is there a difference, or is there how will they address that? And I am at the end of my point. We can talk about some of those others, but they responded to those questions. And I would say, Scott, if you and Jenny want to answer some of those. But
Jenny, do you have anything that you want to add to that?
I'll just make a global clarification that the first part of the presentation about the mining activity pausing the permit for landfill 3, that's kind of one issue that's ongoing. It's the GFL proposal about the transfer station is just something that they have suggested or asked us to consider kind of at the same time, parallel tracks. Would you consider letting us run a transfer station for 15 years and then we'll build the landfill 3? We'll get it unpaused now, parallel tracks, but we'll build it then in 15 years. So I know some of us have talked about this ad nauseum and we have this all in our heads, but just to kind of give that overview for people who maybe aren't in the weeds on this. And yeah, happy to answer any questions that maybe we glossed over or went through too quickly.
Mr. Sorrell, anything else to add to that before we end it? Questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would just say from a policy discussion framing, I think the direction that staff would need is does this board want to choose one of those two parallel paths that Jenny just articulated? Do we want to go down the path of having GFL construct landfill 3 now, which means that we abandon those negotiations, we abandon the proposal for a 15-year transfer station in Pottstown, or do we go down, take the other fork in the road, and continue to negotiate? And if you want to go down that path, I would ask that you kind of give me some parameters and timelines, like when you would like to see a result, so it doesn't drag out forever. But continue to finalize the negotiations of pursuing that alternative path where GFL would construct the transfer station at Pottstown. All the financial requirements that are in the landfill 3 agreement would be upheld and activated with the opening of the transfer station, and then the sweeteners Josh alluded to in terms of financial assistance to the landfill committee, regardless of which fork in the road we take, for that interim period between when landfill 2 closes and when either the transfer station opens, which is a shorter timeline, or landfill 3 opens, which is a little bit longer of a timeline. So fork in the road, and I think we're really just looking for some direction as to which fork you want us to take.
Thank you, Administrator Sorrell. Before I open it up to questions, Sharon, do you have, as our point person on the committee, have anything you'd like to add?
Well, I just appreciate you all putting your faith in me as your representative on the landfill committee. This has been kind of a long process, lot of learning curve. There's been a lot of information that's been thrown at us. Just my personal opinion, and I will, at this point, because I am your representative, whatever the board decides will be my position. But my personal position is that we need to proceed with building landfill 3.
Is there questions on it? Member Ricker.
I guess a couple of questions come to mind. What was the basis for the 15-year window of time for the transfer station? I'll start with that. Just what set that 15-year time window?
I think Josh is probably the best one to answer that. Just stand in the microphone, Josh. You want to make sure you get close enough and make sure it's turned on.
There we go. So we've been told the basis is that's the time to recoup the cost of construction. That's for GFL, for the transportation.
Okay, and then the follow-up question is, after the 15-year window for a transfer station, at this point they would agree to have opened and start operating landfill 3. So they do design work, construction, permitting, all the things that would need to be done. So at 15 years and 1 day beyond, landfill 3 would be a functional operating landfill complying with the contract terms. Is
That's what we've been told, that they would really start construction in 12 years. So the 12, 13 years, so by that 15-year and 1 day, they're ready to go.
in any cost delta between 2025 numbers and 15 years out, they would bear cost or EPA requirements or any rule changes from the EPA would be their expense.
That's what they've indicated, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I know we're throwing a lot to try to digest in a period, and if this is not enough to make a decision, we can give it a little pause, but we really need to give our committee members and staff some sort of direction to move forward on. Member Allison.
Can we hear from the members, other members on their positions that are here from the landfill committee?
So the Member Allison, so I think it would probably be best if we keep the conversation inside this horseshoe, since that's a separate board, and not have, which that board will have to make their decision also, but it's not a debate in the sense of bringing out the other parties in to discuss back and forth in this environment. It would just be our horseshoe. Member Williams is a member of this horseshoe. It's been the longest. You're the longest serving, or is Member Fox the longest? So let's just, if you need more information, we can go to get more information later, but I don't know if necessarily this horseshoe is the appropriate time for that, to bring outside debate in. If that makes sense. Member Rosenbaum?
I have a question whether I can be involved in these discussions, since of my business is the yard waste facility, so I don't know whether, I just want your opinion whether I should abstain from any comment, or if I can participate. I don't know which way you can.
Member Rosenbaum, who do you actually contract with then? Is it the city, the county, or?
I contract with GFL. We'll
So
put the cities.
It would probably be in your best interest to abstain from all these conversations.
That's
since you
what I was wondering.
do represent a landfill of a waste contract in your own right. And if there's things that we need to bring forward or present differently, we're happy to do that. I would like to leave with some direction tonight. If that's not possible, it's not possible. I just want everybody. Member Ruin.
Can you review for us the contractual obligations that would have Landfill 3 built? What's our current contract with GFL stipulating the building of Landfill 3?
Are you asking about the timing? When?
In a nutshell, all of the pertinent pieces of that contract. Are they required to build it? Are they under a contract to build it? Is there a time frame for them to build it?
Yes. The position of the county would be that the contract, of course, they are obligated to construct that. The contract states that it has to be ready to receive waste when landfill 2 closes. And that can't happen at this point logistically. And the mine and other actions in the interim have been the reason for the gap. So that mine threw a wrench in things, but so did other actions of GFL, delayed it.
So to follow up, the mining concerns, is there light at the end of the tunnel that pause will be lifted and the mining concerns will be of no concern?
I'll preface with it's not 100%, right? But the EPA has given us a few criteria to meet, or given GFL a few criteria to meet. And we feel as both technically they've met those, and as well as reviewing what's, presenting to the committee, we feel they've met those criteria. And it's, to change the official database and to, ensure that there's no mining activities, and also ensuring that if you do encounter a mine, what's your engineered solutions to resolve the subsidence? And they presented options for all of those. They also had a third party come in, and that's a third party engineering company who specializes in mine subsidence, and they provided a lot of that input for as well. So I feel they've got a really, really good case on this, and I really hope the EPA goes the way we think they will.
Member Ruin, the time frame that Josh had mentioned earlier was usually 90 days. They're about 20 some days in it. You can ask for a 30-day extension. So we're about, even if they got the 4-month extension, we're basically 20% into that. So sometime later this year, once the EPA permit, at that point, there should be nothing holding up building and construction of the landfill, correct?
Yep, and we've met with the EPA before this when we knew of the situation. FOTH and GFL met with the EPA to talk through what was going on, and that's where we got that initial correction from the EPA. Had the IDNR there, and that was all provided, and so that's really set our path forward. And as Chairman Hill said, that extension, we've been receiving applications back at about the 120-day mark, 110-day mark. They know this is an extreme priority of us. I talked to some of the permit engineers. They've asked, what's the status? How are you guys doing? As we were getting ready to submit, so it's on their radar. So that's kind of, it's known to them.
So there is some time if the board wanted to have those discussions, but there's no point of having those discussions if it is this board's policy to just move forward with building it. And that's what we're trying to get as a policy decision.
So one more follow-up, if you don't mind. Has any financial analysis been done to determine the contrast between building the transfer station and then the actual transfer of waste from there to where Hopewell, I believe it's going? It's got to be an awful lot of fuel and Teamsters and it's got to be a tremendous cost to have a transfer station. And then in that analysis compared to what's the cost of building landfill 3? Are we looking at a company who's just trying to avoid cost? Or are we looking at a company that maybe just doesn't want to pay the interest on the loan it takes to build landfill 3? I'm not involved in this enough to know, but they're under a contractual obligation. It would appear that the permit is going to free up soon enough. In my opinion, if you're just looking for policy direction, do that. Let's do what's in the contract. Stand up to the obligations that were made. Build landfill 3. That's how I feel about it. I know it's a simple overview. I've not been involved. I appreciate Sharon's efforts and involvement throughout this. I know it's been frustrating and difficult to be involved in this down to into the weeds, as Jenny mentioned. But from the most simple overview, it sounds like we should be building or GFL should be building landfill 3.
Member Phelan?
Could someone provide a list of consequences if we decided to make a policy decision to not provide the 15-year extension?
They are asking us to amend the already existing contract and to provide for that 15-year delay. So there would be no penalty for saying no to that. It would be a voluntary amendment that to accept their 15-year delay proposal.
My question is more in the direction of, if we do not provide the extension and we provide policy direction to build landfill 3, what happens to that waste during the gap? What is GFL's plan during that gap period?
They have an interim proposal to deal with the waste that doesn't financially, it honors the financial obligations under the contract. So the county city committee will receive financially what it would receive under the contract if landfill 3 was open, if that answers your question. So their interim proposal handles it. They will handle the waste, and we won't be in a worse financial position.
But Jenny, that's only if we allow them the extension, or that is clearly, that's either way, whether there's the gap in the building or not.
Right, that, either way. Unless you have a different opinion on that.
Yeah, either way, I think both. One's like about a 1.5 year gap, one's about a 2.5 year gap. And during that time period, that proposal covered those costs for the committee on that time period. And the waste itself would be going to Oakdale, the Indian Creek landfill.
I'll give to Member Windish first, then to Member Williams.
So then our revenue, what's in it for us, is the same either way throughout the whole time? And then do we hold the contract stays the same that they have to build? We still enforce that in the 12 or 15 years?
Yes.
I guess I don't see why it matters. Why would we want the garbage here then anyway? Save it.
Member Williams?
I just wanted to comment that people should not be concerned that garbage is going to be, not picked up. The free loads will still be happening. I know in my neck of the woods that's very important. So, those are all will be taken care of. So nobody should be worrying that their garbage is going to be stacking up anywhere.
Member Ricker?
I guess one other question on the siting of the transfer station. They'll have to go through the normal siting processes with zoning and everything else, or has this site already been EPA approved? I mean, what are the concerns that this siting is going to create a lot more grief that we didn't see?
The facility is already sited and permitted from the EPA, so that process has already been completed.
Okay. So there shouldn't be any risk of the transfer station not being able to be constructed at that site?
To my knowledge, yeah, no.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Josh. I think that it would just be the construction. It's not been constructed.
Yeah.
So it's cited and permitted, but it's not constructed. So there's time there. And then I do think that there has to be a slight modification for the Citizens Convenience Center portion of it, that they would have to get, I believe, a permit modification to address that aspect of landfill 3 contract in order to meet those requirements at the transfer station.
That's correct. They would have to, there's about that 3 to 6 month pre-permitting period that would make the modifications to the new design, the new way they're going to handle the new tonnages that would be needed to be done before it was built.
Okay. So I'll just leave my last comment is, from a business decision, one thing, another is the current contract states that they should build the landfill. I understand that, and that's an emotional decision maybe, but from a business decision, I'm okay with pursuing getting some of those questions answered. I think there were some still open-ended questions on the transfer station that, if I heard some of it right, I would still be willing to pursue a transfer station concept for 15 years as long as the due diligence was done and all of our concerns were answered, if they haven't been.
Thank you, Member Phelan.
Are there any penalties in the contract to GFL for not completing the opening of Site 3? I know there were some unforeseen, like the mine example, but
Written into the contract, I would have to look. I do not think there are any monetary penalties for the delay. Of course, if we litigate this, we would ask for all of the money that this is costing, the delay that is costing. So in black and white under the contract, I would have to look, but there are damages that we would assert if we have to litigate.
Member Phelan.
I think the last thing that I would say is for policy direction, I would not be in favor of the 15-year extension and transfer station. I'm concerned about the environmental impact of hauling that waste much further, and we had a contract in place with a timeline that has not been met.
Member Blair, and then I'll get to Member Windish.
So Josh already mentioned that if we delay this 15 years, we don't know what the EPA might do in terms of changing rules and thus expenses for building that. What are some other risks of taking that besides just the unknown of 15 years in the future? Are there other risks besides that we don't know what that cost will be?
I don't know if you addressed it in there, but you had the bonding and the license transfer, like if GFL would go bankrupt or sell. They did try to address some of the unforeseens of a company. Sorry.
Yeah. That wasn't kind of the financial risk part. It really lumped a lot of paragraphs in that. So that was some of those, like, hey, can we put it in an escrow? The permits can be transferred from operator to another operator. You can try to write those in. We've worked to address some of those in that.
And how many employees would be working on this landfill if we started now, who wouldn't necessarily be employed in Peoria County if we delayed the landfill?
I don't know that question. I don't know the answer to that question.
I feel similar to Danny on this, that I would prefer to start this sooner rather than later. I'm just concerned about the unknowns that could be drastically important to us and big going forward.
Member Windish.
I guess that was one of the questions I had, but then the second one is, did they give a proposed like gate fee pricing if the landfill was to open? Do you have that?
So the gate rate, from my understanding, it would still start at that 46, whether it's a transfer station or a landfill. So one thing that getting the 15-year is on the transfer station, you have approximately 45 years of increase in gate rate at CPI no more than 6 or no more than 5. And so that's a guaranteed CPI increase over that time period. Whereas if you take out the extra 15 years, you're at let's say approximately 30 year of your CPI growth on that gate rate.
Member Rendell.
For all the reasons that Member Phelan gave, some reasons that have been other members have brought up, I support Vice Chair Williams's position in building the landfill 3.
Member Daly.
After reading and reviewing everything I've been able to get my hands on, I think we need to go forward with what's in the contract. I don't think contracts are emotional. I think you sign them, you agree to do this, and we need to proceed with it.
Any other comments around the horseshoe? Member Hare.
Just for commentary, this contract was inherited by GFL, is that correct, in the sale from PDC to GFL? And would it be fair to say that PDC was upheld their end of the bargain and running the landfill better than GFL?
So Waste Management currently manages the waste, or landfill 2.
Okay.
PDC had won the rights to build landfill 3 and started the permitting process. And then GFL was what, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? maybe?
It was in October of 21, I believe, September, October of 21.
Okay. Oh, for the days of Royal Coulter to come back. I would just say that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, so I would vote to forge ahead with building landfill 3.
Thank you, Member Hare. Member Salzer.
I too am going to support that we go ahead because I just don't think a delay, when there has been delays in contracts, I know that it's been difficult to honor the contract as it should be honored. And that's what, I think we should proceed with this because I don't see how it is going to help us with a delay.
Thank you, Member Salzer. Member Allison.
I think I feel the same way as most here in terms of proceeding with the build. I had only asked because I didn't know as far as other perspectives from the committee, wondering if those that have dug into this have more to share than we're seeing at the surface. So if there is something we need to know, if somebody could get that to us afterwards, that would be great. But otherwise, I feel the same way.
Well, I'm going to change my tune on this. And since I said earlier that if Member Fox know to stay in here, if Member Fox is a county board appointed representative, if he does have anything to add to the group, I would gladly share the microphone right now. I don't want to debate back and forth, but if you did have some questions, I then will afford the same opportunity. There is a representative from GFL here if he would like to say a few things about the proposal. Not looking for a debate, but if there's questions that are left out there, just so that everybody has what they need to make a proper decision. Was there specifically anything you wanted to ask Mr. Fox, or just give him the microphone? Okay. Okay.
There we go, green, okay. I don't think I have a lot to add. I talked to a number of you before the meeting. My position is sort of echoed by what I've heard here, is that we have an agreement, and I think we should proceed. Part of it is there was an elaborate siting process that happened with the county board and a committee 10 plus years ago. That whole process was based on what ended up in this contract. Whatever unforeseen circumstances that might come with a further delay were not considered in that formal process. So I think that is part of what weighs with me. Some of the other concerns about the economics and things that have been brought up by others on the board have already been stated, so I don't need to restate that. So, but I've been on the landfill committee for 10 plus years, and have watched a lot of this unfold. So, if anybody has questions offline, I'm glad to talk to you offline. So,
Appreciate it, Member Fox, for your many years of service on that committee. There was a representative from GFL. Would you? Okay. Are there any other questions? If not, I feel the majority of the board has pursued to say move forward with the contract as is, and that would be the policy for discussion. We're just one of the 3 different boards, but I'm sure Member Fox and Member Williams will take our voices back to that committee to be heard and have that discussion from there. Anything else to add to this? Seeing none, we will move to the consent agenda.
Need a motion
motion? Member Williams, Member Allison. Would anybody like any item pulled? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair,
Aye.
Members Coates,
Aye.
Daly,
Aye.
Duncan,
Aye.
Groves Allison,
Aye.
Hare, Phelan, Renault, Ricker, Rosenbaum, Rulin, Salzer,
Aye.
Williams, Wendish, and Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. We'd be at zoning ordinance and resolutions. Item number 1 is case ZBA 2024-042, petition of Alfalfa Solar Project LLC, a special use request from section 20-5.2.2.2.h of the Unified Development Ordinance. This section allows for a special use in the A2 Agricultural Zoning District for a solar energy generation facility, provided that the conditions in section 7.17 of these regulations are met. The parcel is located in Radnor Township. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends approval. The Land Use Committee concurs.
Member Rosenbaum, Member Daley. Questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair,
Aye.
Coates,
Aye.
Daly,
Aye.
Duncan,
Aye.
Groves Allison,
Aye.
Hare, Renault, Phelan, Ricker, Rosenbaum, Rulin, Salzer, Williams, Wendish, and Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. I'm just going to read it from here if you're okay with that. I'm just going to read it from the paper if you're okay with that. All right. Item number 2 is case ZBA 2024-044, petition of Fox Sedge Solar Project LLC, a special use request from section 20-5.2.2.2.h of the Unified Development Ordinance. This section allows for a special use in the A2 Agricultural Zoning District for a solar energy generation facility, provided that the conditions in section 7.17 of these regulations are met. The parcel is located in Radnor Township. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends approval. The Land Use Committee concurs.
Member Rosenbaum, Member Daley. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Members Blair,
Aye.
Coates,
Aye.
Daly,
Aye.
Duncan,
Aye.
Groves Allison,
Aye.
Hare, Phelan, Renault, Ricker, Rosenbaum, Rulin, Salzer, Williams, Wendish, and Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. Item number 3 is case number ZBA 2024-041, petition of Sean P. Erickson, a special use request from section 20-5.10.2.2.b of the Unified Development Ordinance, which allows for a special use for an animal special use for animal hospitals, animal clinics, and commercial kennels. The petitioner proposes to operate a commercial kennel on a 7.62-acre parcel in the I-1 Light Industrial Zoning District. The parcel is located in Hollis Township. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends approval. The Land Use Committee concurs.
Member Rosenbaum, Member Daley. Questions, comments? Member Rosenbaum.
Not only will this be a kennel, but also a training facility for animals. And it's also down in the RP Lumber facility that closed down a few years ago down in Mableton. So it's down off of Route 24. Great use of repurposing another facility and bringing more tax revenue and services to our community. Thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Members Blair?
Aye.
Coates?
Aye.
Daley?
Aye.
Duncan?
Aye.
Groves Allison?
Aye.
Hare? Phelan? Renault? Ricker? Rosenbaum? Rulin? Sulzer? Williams? Windisch? And Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. Item 4 is case number WAV 2024-003, petition of Michael P. Cochran, a resolution from your Land Use Committee recommending approval of a waiver of compliance from Section 20-3.16.2.3.b.2.b of the Unified Development Ordinance, which requires a minimum of 60 feet of public road frontage for parcels being created by tract survey, which are 10 or more acres in size. The petitioner proposes to divide approximately 25 acres from an existing landlocked 53.3-acre tract, resulting in a 0 feet of public road footage to the proposed tract. This property is located in Hollis Township.
Member Rosenbaum, Member Daley. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair?
Aye.
Coates?
Aye.
Daley?
Aye.
Duncan?
Aye.
Groves Allison?
Aye.
Hare? Phelan? Renault? Ricker? Rosenbaum? Rulin? Sulzer? Williams? Windisch? And Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. Item 5 is a resolution from your Finance, Audit, and Legislative Affairs Committee recommending approval to accept a proposal from Baker Tilly to provide professional independent auditing services for the FY24 through FY28 financial audits at the contracted rates of $120,030, $126,033, $132,338, $138,995, and $145,905, respectively.
Member Williams, Member Duncan. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair?
Aye.
Coates? Aye. Daley?
Aye.
Duncan?
Aye.
Groves Allison?
Aye.
Hare? Phelan? Renault? Ricker? Rosenbaum? Rulin? Sulzer? Williams? Windisch? And Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. Item 6 is a resolution from your Joint County Operations Committee and Finance, Audit, and Legislative Affairs Committee recommending approval of the collective bargaining agreement between Peoria County and the Police Benevolent Labor Committee and appropriate the funds needed for FY 2024 for wage increases at a cost of $731,900.
Member Ricker, Member Blair. Questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair?
Aye.
Coates?
Aye.
Daley?
Aye.
Duncan?
Aye.
Groves Allison?
Aye.
Hare? Phelan? Renault? Ricker. Rosenbaum. Rulin. Salzer. Williams. Windisch. And Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. Item 7 is a resolution from your County Operations Committee recommending approval of the collective bargaining agreement between Peoria County and the Fraternal Order of Police Lieutenants Unit and appropriate the funds needed for FY 2024 for wage increases at a cost of $68,700.
Member Ricker, Member Blair. Questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair.
Aye.
Coates.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
Duncan.
Aye.
Groves Allison.
Aye.
Hare. Phelan. Renault. Ricker. Rosenbaum. Rulin. Salzer. Williams. Windisch. And Dillon.
Aye.
Fifteen ayes. Item number 8 is a resolution from your Health Committee recommending approval of the low and responsible bid of $224,337.32 from Benco Dental for the purchase and installation of equipment for the dental clinic in the Health and Human Services Building.
Member Renault. Member Coates. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. Oh. Good. Roll call.
Members Blair.
Aye.
Coates.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
Duncan.
Aye.
Groves Allison.
Aye.
Hare. Phelan. Renault. Ricker. Rosenbaum. Rulin. Salzer. Williams. Windisch. And Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. Item number 9 is a resolution from your Infrastructure Committee recommending approval for design and bid services from Midwest Engineering for Peoria County Courthouse Main Street steps to be repaired or replaced for $28,500.
Member Salzer. Member Rulin. Member Salzer.
One thing that the Infrastructure Committee was directed to do was to use ARPA money to do something about this courthouse and bring it, up to snuff. And this is one of the first things that we're acting on for everyone, and we hope we are successful in this line.
And I will add, for those that you weren't, because we started that one at 4:15. This did have timelines on it, so it was out for bid late summer, construction of the fall, which was one of the requests to have some timelines and time constraints. The next one does not have that, but it was requested and going to be relayed to the designers that we need these done ASAP. Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair.
Aye.
Coates.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
Duncan.
Aye.
Groves Allison.
Aye.
Hare. Phelan. Renault. Ricker. Rosenbaum. Rulin. Salzer. Williams. Windisch. And Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. Item number 10, a resolution from your Infrastructure Committee recommending approval for design and development of restoration improvements from Midwest Engineering for Peoria County Courthouse Building facade restoration and cleaning for $27,915.
Member Salzer. Member Duncan. Questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair.
Aye.
Coates.
Aye.
Hare. Phelan. Renault. Ricker. Rosenbaum. Rulin. Salzer. Williams. Windisch. And Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. Item 11, a resolution from your Infrastructure Committee recommending approval to award WSP USA Building, Inc. as the chosen firm to help orchestrate a new facilities master plan for Peoria County.
Member Salzer, Member Rulin. Questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Members Blair?
Aye.
Coates?
Aye.
Daly?
Aye.
Duncan?
Aye.
Groves Allison?
Aye.
Hare? Phelan? Renault? Ricker? Rosenbaum? Rulin? Salzer? Williams? Windisch? And Chairman Dillon.
Aye.
15 ayes. We'd be at miscellaneous and announcements.
We will start at Member Salzer's and work this way. Miscellaneous or announcements? Yep.
I want to say with the advice of others, canceled our work day back there in June. I hope we didn't disappoint any of you, so we're going to try it again, possibly in September sometime. We'll have to watch and see if the Cubs and Cardinals are anywhere near the playoffs, which I don't think they're going to be, but anyway, we don't want to, schedule something on the day of a Cardinal thing, if they are in the playoffs. But anyway, we hope it's not as hot as that particular day was. It did cool down a little bit from the preceding days, but it probably was the best thing we could do for everyone. So hope it didn't ruin anybody's vacation, or that they had something planned and said, oh no, I'm going to be at that event. Also, I want to invite everybody to the 75th Heart of Illinois Fair. We're going to have that press party. Everybody on this board, as well as our elected county officials, they are invited, and we hope to see you next Monday night, the 15th, and they'll have a little program about 6:30, and then they'll start dinner at 7 o'clock. So look forward to seeing you. Hope you all show up, and hope you have a good time.
Thank you, Member Salzer. Member Williams?
Scott, can you give us an update on our packet and voting software, if we have them on site? And I'm hoping to meet the guy from Australia, by the way.
For those who don't know, we're partnering. The company that you awarded the contract to is clerk-based. They're partnering with a company from Australia named Harbor Software. They actually will be here at some point. I know I've executed the contract, but so I think we've started on the front end of things. It'll be a little bit before we start doing training, and they're actually on site. But once we have that schedule more nailed down, we'll make sure we communicate that out, and all of you will be, given opportunities to get your training as well in terms of how you might interface with the new software product. It'll be internet browser based, so there's no app to download on your iPads. You'll just open up the internet browser, which should be Safari, and interact with the software that way.
Thank you, Mr. Sorrell. Member Ricker.
I want to thank the chairman for reinstituting the attendance records for the first 6 months. I think it's very important for us as board members, committee members, to serve and do our duties. So thank you for putting that out and keeping that in front of us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Member Windish? Move around. Nothing. Member Rulon?
Just a point of information quickly. The Cubs are leading Baltimore 8-0 in the middle of the seventh, Coach. So you speak for the Cardinal fans.
And to keep, I did have a request from Cheryl Walsh, who many of you know from the Farm Bureau, to ask for 4-H livestock shows are Friday, tomorrow, July 12th, starting at 8 a.m. Pork chop dinner will start at 5 p.m., followed by an auction at 7. That all the kids that participate that would be very much appreciative if anybody would come out to support them. And that's at Expo Gardens. And then lastly, want to wish the best and safest next week. It's usually the hottest week of the year, to all the St. Jude runners that leave. They again continue to prove that Peoria area is one of the most generous communities in this entire country for what they do for all charities across the board. So kudos to all them and their teams for doing that. Administrator Sorrell or Clerk Parker? All right, meeting adjourned. Oh, sorry.